Welcome, guys. Thanks for being here. This is another episode of the Christian Buddy Show. It's going to be a little bit different to my previous episodes, which have all been about guided meditation. But I've got my coffee, my iced latte, and I'm ready to smash out this episode. And this is going to be all about the inner workings of the Djokovic saga. I'm sure you're all aware of that. And on a side note, if you are wanting to supercharge your subconscious, your mind, whilst playing tennis, you can always check out my guided meditation. I'm going to send up a link in the top right or top left, and there'll be a link in the description for that. You can check out that video. So without further ado, let's jump into today's episode. Alright guys, so unless you've been living under a rock, I'm sure you are all aware of the Djokovic saga. It's making front page headlines all across the world. And so we're going to jump into the first news source here, Fox Sports, and Djokovic visa cancelled. I'm sure you're all aware of that. Today I exercised my power under the Migration Act to cancel the visa held by Mr. Novak Djokovic on health and good order grounds on the basis that it was in the public interest to do so, Alex Hawke, Immigration Minister. That's a very unclear term to be using. Public interest, what does that even mean? How do you grasp a public interest? But this is not about politics. This episode is about the tennis. So I don't want to get too much into a political shitstorm here. So let's jump into the live events of this whole debacle. So we're on January the 16th now. So let's say on January the 15th, the federal court confirms it will hear the appeal before a full bench. Djokovic is taken back to immigration detention. So right now, things are up in the air. We don't know what's going to happen. My personal opinion is that Djokovic won't play. Sadly enough, I'm going to be crying myself to sleep tonight, but I think he won't play, and I think he is a political chess piece in this whole shitstorm because obviously a politician wants to be re-elected, and what's one way that they can get re-elected is to be seen as a powerful figure, is to be seen protecting the borders and stopping these so-called infiltrators or germ carriers or whatever term you want to use from gaining access. So of course they're wanting to, it's in their best interest to kick Djokovic out. So for tennis lovers, I think to see the number one, I don't think it's going to happen this year. Anyway, let's move on and let's see what the player sentiment is around this whole Djokovic saga. And let's start with my mate Kyrgios. Let's see what he's saying about this whole thing.
You know, I just think it's crazy. Like, I feel so sorry for him. Like, preparing for an Australian Open or any Grand Slam is enough for someone, and it's the pressures that he have, I think, so unique. Like, he's going for 21 slams.
Okay, so it's quite interesting, Kyrgios' point of view on this whole Djokovic saga. He is showing a lot of sympathy towards him, and it's interesting in the perspective that Kyrgios hung so much shit on Djokovic, you know, back when they played in the final of Opelka, when Kyrgios beat Djokovic, and, you know, he hung so much shit on him, and now he's changed his tune. Look, he is showing that Kyrgios is a nice dude. He's a lovely guy, and yeah, I respect him as an individual, but I still think Kyrgios has got some more hard work on the court left to do. So let's take a look at what Mr. Rafael Nadal is saying about this whole Novak Djokovic saga. Australian Open is much more important than any player. If he's playing, finally, okay. If he's not playing, Australian Open will be great. Australian Open, with or without him, that's my point of view. That's a very humble opinion, and I think it's a just opinion. But I think in the best interest of Rafael Nadal, he doesn't want the number one player to be in the tournament. So there's a slight conflict of interest there. Of course, I can't, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure what seed Nadal is right now, but he doesn't want to be playing the number one seed. I mean, if you look at their previous track record, this is 2019. We can obviously see that Djokovic dismantled Nadal. So, you know, you can make the case that there's a fiber in Nadal that doesn't want Djokovic to play because he's a threat. So look, I don't know. That's just one possible way it can go down. I'm sure there's a difference of truth there. Now, let's take a look at what Naomi Osaka... So let's take a look at what Naomi Osaka is saying about this whole Novak Djokovic debacle. So, defending women's champion was reluctant to speak about Novak Djokovic when asked for her opinion about his visa cancellation. Now, this is typical Naomi Osaka. She's very aloof. She's very esoteric, non-committal, non-decisive. And I think this is a typical answer from her. Honestly, for me, in a way, I don't really think my thoughts are important, she said. Now, there's a whole can of worms behind Naomi Osaka, and you know what? This might be in a very controversial opinion, but I'm going to, you know what? Stuff it. This is a raw version, and I'm going to give my controversial opinion. It's a very nothing answer, and I think through Naomi Osaka's career, she's a very talented player. I respect her as an individual. But what is a bit disappointing is when she pulls the mental card, the mental health card in a tournament and pulls out. And I get it. I can't put myself in her shoes and I can't feel the pain that she's gone through. But when your net worth is 60 million, and I'm not saying that you can throw money at these mental health problems, but when your net worth is $60 million, then go take a holiday, take a break, go to Hawaii, put your feet up on the chair, have a drink of an iced latte, get some psychologists, get some mental health enthusiasts that will help you out. I mean, shit, man. I mean, mental health card when you're worth 60 million. I mean, you know, I don't want to go too far into this because it's a controversial idea and I'll probably get banned and kicked off YouTube, but that's just my opinion. Yeah, so now we've kind of discovered the players' sentiment around this whole Novak Djokovic. We've kind of discussed a few players. Let's move on to I want to show you just my favorite website of all, and this is the ultimatetennisstatistics.com website. And as you can see here, the Open Era GOAT list. This is just a compilation of all the greatest of all time players based on a formula. Now, this is primarily why I want Novak Djokovic to win. This is why I want Novak Djokovic to play, because if you filter based on Grand Slam wins, you can see the top 3 are all on 20. And, I mean, the formula shows that Djokovic is ahead, 969. You can check out the formula. I highly recommend, if you're a tennis nerd like me, you can check out the formula. You can dive deep into it and you'll go into the tumbleweeds deep into that. But I mean, this guy is a freak. He's a freak, and I want to pull out. This is why I want him to play, because he's just a physical specimen. He's just a machine, and I respect that. I respect his work ethic, and yeah, I just want him to play. Enough said, right? I think you understand what my point of view is. It's a very biased point of view, but I think you understand what's happening. So let's just move on quickly to, I want to just give a massive shout out to Kokkinakis. And if you're not aware, he's just taken out the Adelaide Open. But I want to highlight the caliber of players and the score lines that he's winning. I mean, this is ridiculous. If you're a tennis fan, you understand tennis. This dude is an animal. He's a physical machine. I mean, his quads have doubled in size. He's running around. His lungs have improved. You know, Thanasi Kokkinakis has been one of the most underrated Australian tennis players for a long time, and he's finally coming out of the woodwork. I mean, you look at, he's beaten John Isner. He's beaten Cilic, a former US Open winner, and in the final, he's taken on Rinder Kanesh. I watched that final set. Let's just look at the stats. I mean, win on first serve, 90%. I mean, the stats on his final set, he only missed a few first serves in his final set. So, congrats to Thanasi Kokkinakis for taking out the Adelaide International, and I hope you really do well in the Australian Open, and I send out the best. And to finalise this episode of the Christian Buddy Show, look, I want Djokovic to play. Realistically, do I think he's going to play? No, I think he's going to be deported. The real question is, will he be deported will he be deported prior to the Australian Open or after the Australian Open? You know, we get it, right? The political nuts at the top, Scott Morrison, you know, whoever they are, we know you've made your case, you've made your point, you want him out. We get it. Just let him play. Just let him play the Australian Open. If I can beg my case, just let him play the Australian Open and then kick him out. And I think that is going to conclude this episode of the Christian Buddy Show. If this resonated with you, please hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to check out my tennis meditation video. And sending all the best to you, sending strength. And I hope you enjoy the court if you're playing soon. Thank you.